and gentlemen, Jay Gordon McInnes, episode 298, Sharp Stories. Below peak inventory. There's been a lot of, we're at peak inventory. So I decided to dig in, and we are not at peak inventory. Let me tell you that. We're gonna make this a quick one. We've got some stats, some question marks. I'd like you guys to interact in the comments with a little more than the typical show me more stocks and F realtors and all the fun stuff. If we could dig down into the actual substance, that would be much appreciated for goddamn once. Thank you. So, peak inventory. There's been a lot of talk on the inventory, so I'm just diving through here. I've taken a 10-year snapshot just to see. So for example, this is all Vancouver. So detached inventory right now, we're at 1,344. This is actually 24.8% below peak inventory, which took place in June of 2018. Okay, which was 1,700. So 13 to 1,700. Vancouver condos, we are down from peak inventory only 7.5% at 2,522 condo listings today. Townhomes, we are only down 1.8% from peak at 421. That peak was made last month at 429. So that townhouse market for inventory is the closest we have to actual peak inventory here. And then all segments of the market collectively, we are at 4.6% below peak inventory. Today we've got 4,636 homes for sale. Year over year, we are up on inventory collectively 14.7%. So we're close. The bigger the product, the further away from peak we currently are. Townhomes taking the cake there. Now, with listings, obviously we have to talk sales. You know, I got commented on last week how that I moved too much. It made them sick, if you can believe it. Jesus Christ. Stop it. So detached sales, we are 67% below peak sales. Right now, 149 sales in detached Vancouver. Peak was June 2015, 456. Condos, we are 50% below peak sales in condos. Peak took place March 2021. Beautiful COVID run there, as we all remember, at 944 peak sales for condos. We are now at 468. In townhomes, we are 46% below peak sales at 79 sales, peak being 147, again in 2021, April. All categories, we are at 29% year over year up on sales. However, that is 51% below peak for the last 10-year window in sales. Peak being yet again March 2021, my birthday month. So what happens with inventory in the new year, I think is the big question. We've got two, I think, assumed options here. Buyers, due to the presumed rate decrease, will absorb the inventory and keep that inventory rolling, or due to the rate increase again, sellers will anticipate buyers coming off the fence even further and absorbing more inventory, so they go back to market or on the market for the first time. So we've got two very kind of polar opposite approaches here. Either the inventory is going to get absorbed or the inventory is going to balloon based on everything I can see. What happens with the rates? Will they continue to drop? I think the perception of this is key moving forward. The last 0.50 drop we saw definitely brought people off the fence as we saw this kick up in year over year sales activity. Again, 29% year over year, which really just took place in the last little bit here. And December 11th is the next rate meeting, the final Bank of Canada interest rate meeting of the year, and then followed by January 29 is the first rate meeting of 2025. So at this stage for the December meeting, the little research panel we've got here, economists are about 50-50. Are they going to reduce by 0.25? Are they going to reduce by 0.5? The assumption is there's definitely a reduction, but is it going to be the one notch at 0.25 or double notch like they did last time at 0.5? Currently, the market apparently anticipates a 23% chance of a 0.50, and that was reduced from last month since the inflation numbers came in. We'll talk about that in a second. So basically, will the rates be reduced by 0.50 and try and continue to stimulate our horrendous economic position? Or will they be a little bit more cautious, again, because of this rate increase, and only go, say, a 0.25? I do personally believe that they will reduce. Is it nothing? Is it 0.25? Is it 0.5? Or kind of, I guess, the three real options here. Will they only do a 0.25 and try and dissipate the already now only month over month, but the recent month over month inflation increase? So those are kind of the two points of view on what's going to happen moving forward. Obviously, at the federal level, as I'm discussing, the September CPI, Consumer Price Index, the CPI, Al, as we talked about last week. This is the most untrustworthy number of all time, but apparently it's what the feds are pushing forward and expect us to believe, economists talk about, so we're going to pretend that it's real and credible just for a minute. CPI in September was 1.6 and CPI in October was 2. So that 0.4% increase, they are blaming on key indicators of increased gas prices. Wonder why. Property taxes. I wonder why. And of course, the carbon tax layered on everything that we do that BC doesn't get that rebate for, Mr. Trudeau. So that's what it's being blamed on. Again, that's the frontline excuse. Clearly, again, all motivated from taxation at the top down as usual, because apparently everyone from a provincial to a federal level is broke in this country. So what do? They tax and keep taxing. So I had a little conversation with ChatGPT. That's what the kids are all up to these days. And obviously I was looking for any information on further monetary debasement as adding to this CPI increase. And ChatGPT and their variety of sources assured me that there was no monetary debasement taking place in October 2024 from either the federal government or, more importantly, the Bank of Canada.
Yes, of course it is.
So that's no QE, no quantitative easing. That's no large-scale bond buying programs between the government and the bank, of course, and no extraordinary currency issuances. Now, we all know that they come up with these new names so they can't be searched and tracked and checked year over year. So I don't know what they've come up with this year. I'm sure there's something, but from as far as I can read, this is information from the Bank of Canada, which personally I don't believe, because they're just in two peas in a little pod with the old the feds upstairs. So I don't trust anything they say, but this is obviously regurgitated back through Reuters, Morningstar, and Money Sense. They're seeing the same information, so that doesn't really mean anything, but that's where those four sources come from for the young ChatGPT examples here. So the focus remains on normalizing monetary policy and managing the balance sheet through quantitative tightening, is what they say. So meaning they are not adding currency, they are not adding any sort of programs in place to get more money out there, and in turn creating debasement and CPI growth. They are simply taxing. And it seems that the tax is apparently the only reason why that's going up. So at the end of the day, what are we going to get for rates? December, January. Is the inventory going to re-hit peak? We are not there yet. You break it down to substance to different categories. Of course, each category, as we all know, runs their own game, but collectively, year over year, we are still 14% above peak inventory. We are still 29% above peak sales. What do the next 60 days bring us? Time, Al. Under 10 minutes, 10? That's it, I'm gonna leave it there. Nice comments. Please and thank you. Let's get into it down there. And we'll see what December 11th brings us for the rates. I will see you then.